AJ want everything he can. I'll be the one to take the risk to go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make a plan. Knowing my mother getting older now, got no time. Gotta keep a couple for the road, the rest get left behind. Yeah. To the hundreds, pledge allegiance, I stand. I'm going pull forward in the fucking white sand. I give it all to this mic stand. If it's been done before, then I know I can. I'm on the rise, I'm trying to keep a level head. She want my time, she begging me to give me. I'd rather shed blood.
Okay. Yo, what's the deal, y'all? Hope all is well. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalan, and this is another episode of the #1 podcast in all of Los Angeles. Nice and neat. Duke, I got a question straight out of the gate. Hey, I got a question straight out of the gate. Both of y'all, whoever get to it faster, it's like Family Feud, right? Okay. All right. Do you think most people's standards are too high, or are they not high enough?
Their standards aren't high enough. Their standards aren't high enough.
Okay.
Nah, I don't think people view themselves truly how they supposed to view themselves and see themselves. You know, a lot of people not seeing the best in them and themselves. So I think because if you're not seeing the best in yourself, how could you? What was the question?
Do you think most people's standards are too high?
How could your standards, if you don't think the most of yourself, how could your standards be too high? They're not high enough. They're not high enough because you're not thinking the best. You're not thinking the highest of yourself. You know what I mean? So I think most people's standards are too low.
They talk a good game, though.
They talk a good game.
Man, I think most people's standards are too high.
You think most people's standards are too high?
Facts. All right, let's not even play. I think most people's standards are too high, right? And sometimes people try to say people try to make it seem like it's a confidence thing. It's okay to be like realistic about what things are for you. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, if I am a man and I got a beer belly and I am, no offense, 5'3", okay?
Okay.
And the average and the average and no for real. And the average height of a man in America is how tall?
5'8".
5'8". Okay, and I'm not even hitting that. Right? And the average height of what women say they want in America is
6 foot.
6 foot. Right? So I'm way away from that.
Way off the mark.
Right? I can't. You know, I have to settle for something. Because most women I'm going to encounter, I don't fit that criteria. That's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? And I think most people aren't like that. And it sounds harsh, but it is a reality, right? So, like, we just got to call it how it is.
Dude was on his Kevin Samuels right now.
We just got, no, for real. We just got to call it what it is. And it's not a bad thing to say, yo. Like, most of us have very high standards that we can't measure up to. Oh. You know what I'm saying? It's like this.
Well, people want to hear it. Oh, shit.
It's like this.
Go ahead. Dive in there. Dive.
I'm going to ask you to list off the perfect woman or man, right? Perfect person. And you're going to give me all these characteristics. You're going to give me all these traits. You're going to tell me how the person looks, how they dress, how much money they make, everything. All right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a caricature or whatever, action figure or avatar or whatever. Yeah, I'm going to draw an avatar. And I'm going to put them on. I'm just going to put I'm going to paint the picture for you.
Yep.
Then I'm going to ask you, all right, now right next to him, the qualities of a person that person wants.
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh.
I'm going to ask you, okay, write all the qualities, write all the
it's a good exercise.
the measurements.
Yes, it is.
Write the way that person's supposed to look, that career, all of it, right next to it. And then we're going to just draw that person, that avatar. All right, I'm going to ask you, do you measure up to that person? All right, that person, that ideal person that you wanted, right? Do you measure up to the person?
Based off of what we assume that person will want?
This all comes down to, these are all your answers, by the way, right? Because you created the first avatar, and then you created the second avatar that is based on what the first avatar wants.
Yep.
Now, that second avatar is supposed to represent you and the place that you feel. Do you measure up? And I think if most people were being honest, most people wouldn't measure up. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
And I feel like that's why I think for all of us, well, most of us, our standards are just too high. And that's just like the real genuine answer, right? Not the fake answer, not the man, you need to believe in yourself, or you need to strive for the best, or you need that. I'm not talking about that.
I kind of want to go back because you just talking about this guy that you know, overweight, got a belly, 5'3", right? So he doesn't get the woman who's 5'8" or 5'5", fine, brown, whatever's fine to him, right? He doesn't get that. But that doesn't mean that, like, he can't have high standards for what he gets, right?
For sure.
You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that his standards are too high just because it doesn't mean his standards are too high for what's available to him.
I got you.
How could you have standards too high?
Well, I think if it ends up working out, then you're like, it's like this. It can't be too high if you can get it.
Okay.
Right? The standards can't be high if you get it, if you can reach it. It's not too high. But it's more so the expectation of having something that you've never had before. Right? I think that's what I'm talking about, you know, and not understanding the landscape of things. Right now, your standards can always change based on how much work you do.
Yep.
Right. And I said height. I said height, but height is not a bad thing because that's how you're born. Right.
Yeah,
so it's not a bad thing. I was just trying to paint the picture. So yeah, I think that I feel like most of our standards are too high. You know, most of our expectations are things that we're not willing to do. You know, and I don't want to say they're not fair, but a lot of things we just can't reciprocate. You know, and that looks different for men and women.
So do you think people create their standards before they consider what they have to offer?
Do I think people create the standard before they consider what they have to offer?
If it's like what he's saying,
That's a good
if
question.
the standard is too high,
That's a good question.
if their standards are too high, yeah, you probably haven't considered what you have to offer before you made your standard.
Right? Because it's like, and then, you know, like, what are we basing our standard off of? I feel like we consume so much, so our standards kind of based off of our consumption.
For sure.
A lot of times. So even in saying, referring to the guy that's short or referring to the guy that got the beer belly, like when we're talking about standards, what if he has incredible set of principles though? Right?
That's what I mean. He could still. How could he not have high standards?
Okay, well,
You know what I mean?
okay, right.
Or how could his standards be too high if he's got great principles?
Right. Well, this is in terms of things that don't align, right? If I've got amazing principles, then my standard would be I'm looking for someone with amazing principles.
Something to match.
Your standards can never be too high. If you feel like your principles are at the highest of the highest, then that's all I'm looking for, right? Then how you look doesn't matter. You know, what you do doesn't matter.
A lot of things change.
A lot of things, those things don't change. Then okay, you're fine, right? Yeah. Then you like playing in your ballpark, okay? But that's not how it works. When we think about like high standards, we're thinking about everything, you know. And a lot of times, if we're just basing it off society, right? A lot of that is really materialized and superficial. And you know, in addition, obviously, high standards has a lot to do with character. But just from the eye test, everyone can see. We all kind of come up with what people like. What's high standard? We all kind of just agree with what's high standard, even though we could be wrong or not. And I think that by those metrics, most people definitely try to outkick their coverage.
So just
That's a football reference, by the way.
Just to confirm, high standard. When somebody like, man, your standards are too high, that means
you're too picky.
You're too picky.
That's what that means.
So when we're saying your standards are too high to somebody, are we basing that off of the lack of results due to those standards?
Yes.
Because if somebody
yes.
got you, so you're not telling somebody who constantly getting what they want, your standards are too high.
No.
Because they're probably constantly getting what they want because they can offer those things that complement that. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're too picky. You're too. There's too many stipulations, too many check marks that people have to.
For what you offering?
For what you offering.
For what you offering.
Okay. So just so people can have a full understanding, like when do you get to a point to when you tell somebody like, yo, your standards are just too high?
Oof. I don't believe I've ever told you.
I've never told anybody that. And I think it's a very sensitive world to be able to just say that. and it comes off as like a self-limiting mindset type thing where you're trying to prevent someone from thinking big. You know, you never want to be that, but there is like a certain point where you do have to tell it what it is.
I would hate to tell somebody their standards are too high.
But you're not telling them. You wouldn't tell someone their standards are too high just to tell them that.
Nah, you have to be close to that person.
But you would also tell them that because you want to see them with somebody.
You want to see them win.
You want to see them with somebody, right? You want to see them have somebody to come home to. You want to see that.
Yeah.
And you're saying like, yo, we all can kind of we can just sit by and look and say, man, like, yo, man, there's plenty of people out here that will want you, right? But the people that you're going after, it's unlikely.
Yeah. Not saying that it can't happen. It's unlikely.
Because for a lot of us, we playing that, yo, I want to match who I'm with.
Yep.
That's just a fact.
Yep.
We want to match who we with physically, mentally, emotionally.
Yep. I want to be equally yoked out here.
And equally yoked. And every now and then, to the outside world, you'll get a pair that to the outside world doesn't look like they match, but they really match because there's other things that's going on.
Compatibility.
They're really compatible, you know. So yeah, you know, I think that's a fact.
I wonder why nobody. So everybody says, "Oh yeah, your standards are too high," and speaking to the sensitive aspect in society, how is it sensitive on both sides? In telling somebody, "Yo, your standards are too high," or "Yo, you need to raise the standard of yourself."
How is it?
Like why does both sides have to be sensitive? If I'm giving you like, yo, I don't want to tell you your standards are too high because they're high, but in me saying your standards are too high, I'm also limiting you and saying you can't reach that. So,
but by me telling you your standards are high enough, it's like, yo, like I know you better than that. So I don't think you need to be sensitive in that regard. Because I'm telling you this out of love because I see so much. I see so much in you. And right now I think you grabbing low hanging fruit.
What if you told somebody you need to raise the standard of yourself in order to achieve that high standard you want?
Because I can see it in you. I can see greatness in you, and you're not operating in that. And I don't know what the disconnect is right now, bro. But like, I love you and I want the best for you. But right now, that shit that you putting out here, that shit ain't gonna get it done. I don't think you got to be sensitive about that. But about telling someone to lower their standards, I feel like you got to tread a little carefully there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But to tell someone that your standards are too low, I think you need to raise them, bro. It's just, I think that's coming from a really loving place. I don't think that's coming from a negative place at all. I think that's coming from a place of like, almost empowerment. I'm trying to empower you to be better, bro. Cause, right, either that or you don't see yourself how I see you, and maybe we have a different problem. Mm. Maybe you're not the guy who I think you are or who you say you are.
Yeah, okay, so I do agree. Telling someone, hey, yo, you need to lower your standards, it sounds crazy, right? Instead of just saying, hey, yo, if you have these high standards, then you need to elevate yourself, right? Because that sounds more empowering, and it's just, you know, you want to strive for something just that looks unattainable. But if I could look at you, bro, because it stems from like where you are right now. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why I'm standing. So if I could look at you, or I know you, or I know what you're just comfortable in, and I know what you don't want to do and how your lifestyle is, yeah, like like you need to lower your standards in order to get what you want. Either that, or you got to conform to something that can be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You got to do some things that can be uncomfortable. You got to make decisions that can be uncomfortable. You got to step outside of your comfort zone. You know, you got to change your behavior. You got to get in the gym. You got to go read and do emotional intelligence work and do all these things, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the conversation we can have. But if you're not willing to do that, then you got to lower your standards. You know, because this person that you're seeking, let's say somehow you brainwash them into, you know,
going on a couple of dates
with you, and you get in a relationship with, like, that's not gonna last, because they're gonna realize, man, like, you either gonna feel like you got to keep up with them, or they're gonna realize like you're not it for them.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. You know, and I think that we've gotten to a place where we try to instill all this false, you know, all this false empowerment in people, right? Instead of just saying like, hey, yo, this the reality is this, right? This is the reality. This is the reality. You aiming for some stars that you just
Probably
can't.
not gonna reach.
Yeah, and you wasting time doing it.
That shit. I hate that, bro, because
What you hate?
it makes sense, but I hate the fact that you gotta shoot somebody down, right?
It's not shooting somebody down though. It's not shooting somebody down, bro.
But if that's my dream, you shooting it down.
They're not dream.
If-
Dream. Not dream though. No. Yeah, not dream. Oh.
It's my dream to be with a beautiful woman, bro.
Yo,
It's my dream.
My dream.
And you shooting it down. I just don't like the fact that, you know, in someone's mind, they could believe that they could obtain something, and then someone could tell them, "Nah, bro, you can't get that." I don't like that. But I understand being realistic.
yeah, but like, and there's also times when someone believes they could get something or someone, and no one says anything, and they never get that person or they never get what they want, and then years down the line they say, "Man, why didn't anybody tell me?"
This is true.
I wish somebody would have told me.
Yeah.
Well, somebody tried to tell you. You get what I'm saying? Somebody
Yeah.
somebody tried to tell you, and I think that shit is just how it is today. You know, but like it just I would never encourage. Like, okay, so when we say you need to lower your standards, it's not you need to think less of yourself. Right?
That's not what we're saying.
That's not what we're
That's
saying.
not what we're saying.
That's not what we're saying. It's not you need to think less of yourself, but your checklist needs to be more lenient.
Yeah.
Right? You need to give it more like slack.
Yep.
Right? Because you don't, at where you at right now, you don't necessarily have the luxury or the leverage
Or the leverage. You got no leverage.
to be that type of specific, you know, and senile and just like with who you're seeking. And that's just a fact. Ain't nothing wrong with that, bro.
Nah.
And like, we got to start living in a world of truth, bro. We got to start living in a world of truth and not just like being in denial. You know, I know that if I want to maintain a gorgeous woman, right? I got to make sure I'm in the gym. I got to make sure that I'm able to go out and work and
Got some
show
paper in your pocket.
I gotta do those things. You know what I mean? That's just part of it. That's part of it. And that's not shallow. That's just part of it. If you want to maintain a, you know, healthy, successful, attractive, intelligent, faithful man, there's a lot of work that's associated with that. You know? And if you're not that woman, then yeah, your standards too high. Especially if you're walking around here like, nah, I'm not getting what I want. 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 Okay, your standards too high. But if you're getting what you want, then I can't say that. You know what I mean? What do you think?
I was just gonna ask that, like, 'cause did you answer?
What's the question?
Did you answer? Do you believe people standards are too high? Or are people's standards too low?
Both. I think people operate in both spaces. Regardless, I think both yield the results, the opposite end results and what people are looking for. So a lot of people who have standards that are too low often end up with people that they don't need to be with, that don't serve them. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes people who have standards that are too high end up in very similar situations or alone. And I wouldn't tell somebody to necessarily adjust those standards per se, but I would probably say allow space for the intangibles. If we feel like somebody's standards were too high, right? And it was like, yo, you need to lower your standards and take off some of the checklists that you got. I wouldn't necessarily say lower your standards, but I would say, yo, some of the things that are on your checklist, you should take that off and leave more space for the intangibles, because somebody might be able to show you something that you didn't expect that you were going to like. Mm-hmm. But when you operate, so it's this, and me and Brittany, we talk about this all the time. It's this space of control that we see women operate in a lot, to where it's like, yo, since I don't have any control over this space of my life, I'm going to control every aspect in this space. And in that is so many blessings that are missed, that are lost, that are not able to be grasped, because you're saying, this doesn't look like how I created it. Mm. Typically, the things that you want the most are the things that you control the most and you fixate on the most, and the things that get away from you the most, because you created what it's supposed to look like, rather than just letting it happen and letting it come to you. Yo, I really, really want to be in love, right? That's the first thought that we have. I really want to be in love, but I want to be in love with a man that is 6 foot, a man that is successful. He grew up in a 2-parent household. He has this, you can write an entire book about it. And now you look at your list and you look at this guy and you say, you know what? He grew up in a 1-parent household. I'm not doing it. He didn't get a college degree. I'm not doing it. And in that, it's like, when you define, I want a man that's successful, you attach the college degree to it.
Successful in the dictionary don't say college degree.
It doesn't say that. You attach it to it because you fixated on what it's supposed to look like
in your
so
head.
much, because that's the thing that you want the most. And you allowed it to become, you allowed your blessing to now become elusive. This was created for you. But now, because you're the creator in your head of what this situation is supposed to look like, you're not even able to receive it. Mm. So that happens to so many people. And it's just like, yo, sometimes just sitting back and be like, yo, how do I want to receive this, rather than is it in alignment with my checklist? We all had checklists. And you realize, like, you know what? It's a few major things on here that I can keep, but for the most part, this checklist actually is not even
important. Yeah.
It's not even important.
Yeah.
There's so much that showed up on here that wasn't even on the list.
It wasn't on the list. I actually never even thought about it.
I didn't even think about making a category for it.
So in that, I think the most important thing when we're talking about standards, low or high, is relinquishing the control or the lack of control that you might feel in certain situations. So even when people who have low standards, and you're like, yo, you got to raise your standards. Like, your standards they're a little low, which people that exist. People, they attach to people who they're not supposed to be with. That's why we say that. We are saying it based off of the result of what we see based upon their standards. We're not saying this to success. I don't tell you, Duke, your standards are too high. I've never told neither one of you guys that. I've never felt that way, because I've seen the success. Now, if you constantly, we had these same exact conversations, you told me exactly what you wanted out of a woman, you told me what you wanted to look like, yet you were complaining and you were single, we would have to have conversations now, because it's like, yo, it's not yielding results.
Yep.
So because it's not yielding results, we're trying to look for solutions. So therefore, it's like, yo, or if you continuously talk to women who dogs you out, yo, bro, you got to raise your standards, bro. Like, you're dealing with these women, I think you're so much better than that, dog. Like, you got to raise your standards. So to answer your question, I think it goes both ways. I don't think it's a one or the other. So I'm on both of y'all side. Mm-hmm. Typically, I am. But
so if let's say you can't, you don't want to lower your standards, and having high standards is not working for you. Do you settle or just be alone?
Settle. Alone is not. Why would you want to be alone?
I don't know. Some people will say, yo, I'd rather be alone than settle. Some people say, I'd rather be alone than settle. What do you think about that?
I think life is not going to be, the longevity of your life is not going to be what you think it's going to be, because you're going to be lonely. I think, and is it settling because you didn't get what you want, or because you don't think you got what you deserved? You know what I mean? Like, where's the settle come? Where does that thought come from?
I got you. Because low-key settling could be good for you.
It could be good for you. I settled down. You settled down. You settled down.
Yeah, I don't mean settle down though. I don't mean settle. I mean settle for something that wasn't your intention, right? Something that you didn't desire. It may be good for you still though.
Yeah, and also, like, this goes back to what Jelon was talking about the intangibles and the things that we can't see. Like, it may be something that person has that's gonna give you, that's gonna make you a better man, that's gonna make you that's gonna turn you into a father, that's gonna allow you to have more purpose in life. You never know. You never know. So you walking around saying, I'd rather be alone. You rather be alone than miss out than have purpose? That's what you're saying. That's what you have no idea what this person could do to you. We talked about it on our previous episode. I think it was about women charging up. They put a battery in that man's back. You know what I mean? You have no idea what this woman could do for you. This woman could turn you into an assassin if you let her, because that's what women do. Women gonna make their partner. Women gonna make a man better. A good woman is.
What you think? I'd rather settle too.
I'd rather settle. I'm settling.
I can't be alone.
No.
I don't think you have to do either. I think if you're in the space of like, yo, my standards are high and I'm not getting what I want, and I don't want to drop my standards low enough, I feel like it goes back to what we said. Then you have to do something about you. Because if you feel like your standards are too high and you're not getting what you want, like, that means that nobody's coming down to your level, and your standard, and you're in the middle. I feel like you got to do something. So, like, if we're talking about a man who wants a woman who is seemingly out of his league, because that's what the results is saying now, you need to do something to get into her league, bruh.
What would you do?
Out of the two?
Out of the two.
Out of the two?
Out of the two, bro. Don't come in here making up answers, bro. Out of the two.
I made that up.
What?
Okay, out of the two, would I settle or would I be alone? I just hate the way the word settle sounds. I just hate the way that word settle sounds.
Yo.
Because I could see settling and causing more misery to somebody else's life by me settling, and they feel that, and they're trying to live up to the standard of what I couldn't get, you know, because I'm above them because I settled, and they trying to live up to the standard of what I couldn't get every single day, and they feel my energy around that. That could lead to so much destruction for me. That could lead to cheating for me.
So you'd rather be alone?
Man, I think that would be the safest thing to do. Now, to say, would I actually be alone, or would I be selfish enough to just settle so I could have somebody? I couldn't tell you in this moment. That would be a feel thing for me.
And you got to tell us.
Okay. Wow. Well, I just got punked into the answer in that one, too. I would
dance.
Dancing ass. Nah, man, you know what, bro? I probably would be alone, dog. And when I say alone, it's not gonna be alone. I just wouldn't have a family. I wouldn't bring somebody into like, yo, I know that you're not good enough for me. I walk around with, because you got to think about what that does to your psyche every day. You showing up to your family, your Duke has a barbecue at the crib. I see all y'all happy with y'all partners and who y'all want to be with.
I'm pulling up with my thing that I'm settling.
And I'm a young settle over here, like.
Lunch meat.
Yeah. You know, I couldn't settle. I'll be alone. I would be alone. I would show up to the barbecues by myself and just have my life. You know. I wouldn't bring anybody into my misery, because that's gonna be miserable.
Man, but what you think alone is? If you think that's miserable, what you think alone gonna be?
They both gonna be miserable. So you can see yourself settling just because you're gonna be dogging this person out.
Here's the thing. Here's what I have. Here's what I have that I've been able to experience in my life. I've been able to experience and firsthand see my dad not be with a woman 15 years. I don't want to experience that.
No matter how cool you think you are now, no matter how
I
handsome
don't want to experience that. It's little things like just having a conversation with someone that he doesn't even get to do on a day-to-day basis unless he has to physically call someone. And then that person has to answer. Right?
Right.
And at that age, how many friends do you think? My dad gonna be 80.
You don't have a lot of friends.
How many friends do you think he got?
Picking up the phone.
So if you think settling is miserable, what do you think lonely gonna be, bro? I can't be alone. I will not. I will settle.
Yo,
No, that's a good point.
yo.
That's a good point.
And
I will settle.
You gotta just think about it from all angles. You know
I
what
mean, because if you alone, you're gonna die alone for sure.
you're gonna die alone, bro.
I don't think people really understand what they're saying when they say things like, man, I'd rather be alone. I don't really think people understand that.
You're not. No.
And people definitely haven't looked at a lot of our parents that are alone, that don't have nobody. And we feel sorry for them,
Man.
right?
just want somebody to like you.
And we feel sorry. I don't really think people understand that, you know? And just the way everyone's going on social media now and just today's society, we all think that we're just going to get old and at some point find the person of our dreams. What's happening is a lot of us, bro, right now, a lot of us, when we check back in 20, 30 years, going to be either alone or settling.
Yeah.
The way it's going right now, a lot of us are going to be alone or settling. You know what I mean? And I think people don't understand how serious that is. So, give me somebody I can settle with.
Give me somebody I can settle with too.
Because at a certain point, it becomes less about like, is this the person I desire? It's just like this is the person here right now.
Yep.
This is another person here. So I don't have to be alone.
So I don't have to be alone.
And I think it sounds crazy when
You're gonna find like solace in that.
at least we got somebody.
At least we got somebody. Trust me. You're gonna find solace in that, bro. You will never.
Hey, a lot of us be saying that, nah, I'd rather be alone because we're not old yet.
That's because we're not old, bro. We say that because we're in our 30s.
We not
we
old
young
yet.
guns right now.
We're not old yet.
Bro, when you the more decades you live, the more you realize, yo, like companionship is everything. That shit is everything. Just having a friend to talk to when you wake up
You got
before
less
you go to
life,
sleep.
less life in front of you than behind you.
Hey, you guys be sitting with y'all girls that y'all didn't settle for, and just looking at them and just like, man, this is kind of dope. This is kind of dope. This is.
What did you just say?
He said that you didn't settle for. Hey, y'all girls that you didn't settle for.
Oh man.
Yeah, I be sitting there like, man.
Do y'all envision what it's gonna be like being old?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I be like, man. I'm like, damn, man. It's a lot of niggas right now with problems I ain't got.
Yep.
I love it here.
Yep.
That's how I be thinking. I'm like, yo, I'm all right.
I'm all right.
I'm done all right. That's how I be thinking.
We had a conversation off camera. You were talking about just things that you feel like you're gonna have to deal with when you're older. And I think about what it will be like if, man. Damn, why did I just lose my train of thought? What did you say, dude?
I was talking about how I love it here.
The conversation we had off camera, you were talking about things that you could lose, right? I do think about problems that I could gain when I see other people. Like, damn, well, I wonder what shit I might have to deal with because you, like you said, you look at you like, damn, I'm glad I don't got to deal with that shit right now. I do be thinking like, well, what shit is coming my way? Because the more you look around, at older men, you're like, he going through some shit. He dealing with some shit. Everybody dealing with some shit. You never know what it's gonna be. So I do be thinking about that when I look at other people. You know, like damn. I'm glad I'm healthy. You be really grateful. Be extremely grateful. You know what I mean?
Man. Yeah, I just look at like how my life has been, and okay, what's the most difficult thing I've dealt with? And it's like, all right. Do you guys feel like life gets harder?
No.
Do we feel like life will get harder as you age, or it's gotten harder and where we're at is just getting harder?
Does life get harder, or do you feel like life gets easier? Like if we're talking about linearly, like if this was a stock market chart, would it be going up or would it be going down?
It's probably going down. I think it's probably harder just because you're gonna start losing people.
Life gets harder.
It's gonna get hard because
I think life gets harder.
yeah.
I think life gets harder. It gets more memorable, more beautiful things you experience. But I definitely think life gets harder.
It's definitely getting harder.
Like having a child, it's a beautiful thing, but it's a level of responsibility now that you don't have the ability to be like, oh, okay, cool. Today I'm just gonna take off.
Yeah. But at the same token though, life is getting harder, but you are also getting better at it. Just because you're simply living it every day. Mm-hmm. So the experience provides you the opportunity to get better, even though it is getting harder.
I agree with that.
Isn't it crazy though how life is though? It's like the later, it's like in the years where we start to lose a lot of our health or just our just agility and our movement and our youth, right? We be the most stable. Financially, like emotionally, intellectually, we be the most stable. But like as we're on that incline, we got all this activity, all this youth. It's crazy how it works because like only a very small percentage of people will get to have everything at one time. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. Like kid, family, the money, the youth, the mental capacity, the intellectual capacity, like all that. It's crazy.
It's crazy. This is a side note, but I've always envied those type of dudes.
Yeah, they got everything at one time.
When I would see like just as an example, I'll use like a former teammate, like I'll use like Emmanuel Sanders, right? Like I would be envious of this dude. I'd be like, damn, this dude got his bag, right? He living his dream job. He's got a wife. He's got kids. I'm like, damn, this dude's got everything. And he's got it.
This dude's got everything.
This dude's got everything. And he's got it in his 30s. You know what I mean? He's got like he
still got most of his life to live.
He didn't have to wait till he was 50 to go grab that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But you know, everything happens for a reason and everything happens in God's timing. But I've always been like, you know, envious of those dudes in a good way. Like, damn, man, like I wish I got to experience having all of those things at one time. Because it is a dope thing, but for us it makes our story that much better.
Yeah, for sure. I guess the moral of the episode is not to lower your standards. Please don't lower your standards. But just understand that you may have to tweak some things on the checklist to, you know, get the person you want. You know, and just to make sure that whatever you want in life or the person you want in life, make sure that you are also the person that person wants. It makes everything easier. All right. Fellas, do we got anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. But listen, guys, we're about to wrap up. Really appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys for tapping in. Make sure that you are subscribed to us on all streaming platforms as YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure you're following us on all social platforms as well. You can follow myself on Instagram at Duke. Follow Omar at Omar.Bowden and Jalan at just.Jalan. Also, if you're watching this on your iPhone or phone, go ahead and screenshot, post to your story, tag us. Or if you're watching this on your TV, go ahead and take a photo, tag us to your story. And yeah, Much love, much gratitude. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalan, and this is another episode of Nice and Neat, and that's that on that.
I'll be the one to take the risk to go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make a plan. Knowing my mother getting old and I don't got no time. Gotta keep a couple for the road, the rest get left behind. Yeah. To the hundreds, pledge allegiance, I stand.